IGN's Summer of Gaming is presented by the United States Air Force. The call to serve can come from anywhere, from providing and sustaining security to humanitarian assistance in the event of disasters, and the U.S. Air Force is prepared to answer. And in 2023, the Air Force is hiring over 26,000 new airmen and has over 200 career opportunities. To learn more, visit airforce.com.
Welcome back. This is a very special IGN Summer of Gaming episode of Podcast Beyond. This is a weekly PlayStation show. We do it every week normally, but we're doing kind of a special, kind of a post-mortem after the Capcom thing, which, to be honest, maybe not the best showing we've had over these past few weeks of big game stuff. So I figured we could kind of go over all of them and talk about, what grade would we give these showcases? Strictly speaking, as someone who has a PlayStation in their home and likes to play games on it. Yeah. Let's start with Capcom. Akeem, what are you thinking?
If I'm gonna give it a grade, I honestly was not impressed with Capcom's showing at all.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, but if I had to pick one game that I am excited for, I already talked about it.
Exoprimal, you can't get enough of Exoprimal.
Exoprimal, yeah, that's the one. I have an obsession with dinosaurs and just can't get enough of it. So, but no, it would definitely as someone who bought the PSVR 2 day one, I'm looking for more games on it, and I feel like Capcom is like one of the only real third-party AAA game studios out there that's actually trying to do something with it.
No, I agree.
So I'm looking at Resident Evil for VR.
Before we swap off, would you play Exoprimal in VR?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that would
actually,
that would kind of move the needle. Matt, what were you thinking? What grade would you give the Capcom Showcase? And what was its sort of redeeming quality?
I mean, as a PlayStation vendor, like those games are coming to PlayStation, in that like technical sense, like a B. But in terms of like the show itself, right? like a C. I want to play this by the rules. There are a lot of PlayStation games on the Capcom show that I do want to play, but as a show itself, I did not come away super impressed. So C+.
Okay, Jada.
C-. So Dragon's Dogma is going to be the big one for me out of the showcase. Even though we got no new footage and a little bit of new information, I'm still very hyped for Dragon's Dogma 2. It does so many cool things with its world and its characters and its NPCs and its pawns. It does really cool stuff with that, and I really am looking forward to trying out all the new vocations and abilities and everything like that. And I really think they have a chance to really establish Dragon's Dogma as more than a cult following for a more niche audience. I think it can be really more mainstream.
I understand their reasoning to sort of have to reiterate what it is, because the first one it didn't exactly.
I mean, it's PS3 in the original release. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a massive hit, or we probably would have gotten a 2 sooner.
Yeah.
So I get why they need to be like, here's what it is, in case you didn't know, because some people don't know. But also, because it is sort of a known quantity for anyone who did play it, I think a straight chunk of gameplay might be nice, like a gameplay overview where they're just like, all right, you play as this, here's the systems that work. Because jumping around like this is like, it's exactly between like giving you a clear idea of what the game is and the cinematic thing. And it's nice to see some in-engine, actual gameplay stuff, but it's messy, Like it's not like it's neither here nor there.
How about you, Max? What are you giving it?
Incomplete.
Incomplete.
Did it feel incomplete?
Capcom's getting a note sent home to their parents over this one. This was just, we're like, oh, well, they announced this late. They must have something to do. And it's like, this, what?
Yeah. I mean, so I also get it. Like, Summer of Gaming, our whole thing, there's so many more eyeballs on this than maybe just a PlayStation showcase on its own. So it makes sense for them to reuse some stuff and, it's easier to, turn in your homework a second time than to, do a whole new piece of artwork.
I mean, this is the instance where I would have actually accepted some of those, I think the last time I did one of these, they announced that, was it Village was getting DLC, which it eventually got. One of those, they were like, we're excited to announce it's in the works, and everyone's like, hey, cool, great, and it was just text. Like, it was totally phoned in, but maybe they could have done that, Maybe they could have had something like that to show us. But yeah, moving backwards, let's go back way to the beginning. Let's go back to the PlayStation Showcase, because that was kind of what kicked things off for the summer gaming stuff. And I don't know, I feel like we were pretty hyped on it when it first started. and I kind of think a lot of people cooled off on it. You know?
I mean, yeah, I got to go back and rewatch it later, and my excitement definitely tempered from it. I went from like, oh, this is kind of like I think I said at the end of the showcase day of, I was like, this is like a 9, like a high 8, low 9, and then I came back and rewatched it. It's like it's kind of like a B-, like a high 7, low 8.
So you were caught up in the moment, is what you're saying?
I was caught up in the moment. Yes, I love games. I love games.
Yeah,
and
I
I will
love
not
the game
apologize
games.
for getting hyped about games that I love.
Yeah.
I got Final Fantasy. They showed off Dragon's Dogma that day.
Yeah.
We got Foam Stars. Akeem,
Foam
I know
Stars.
you're hyped for Foam
Yes,
I
Stars.
don't
of
think
course.
we gave it a 9. We gave it a foam out of 10.
We did give it
yeah.
a foam. Yeah,
Yeah.
we foamed it
So,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever number that is.
You decide what number it is. Tell me in chat. I'm watching chat. Tell me what number foam is out of 10. Y'all in chat, tell me.
Weird question, but
I don't
sure.
know.
Matt, what did you think of the PlayStation Showcase?
called Engaged
I know that was
Max.
a long time ago.
Yeah, it was fine. It was all right. It was a perfectly good showcase.
The hot takes right here.
Yeah.
F stands for fine.
F stands for fine. It was
Okay.
a foam out of 10, which is a fine.
Fine. Yeah. Okay.
No, again, yeah, Dragon's Dogma, Spider-Man 2, the things that you would expect. No major surprises, because the surprise for Spider-Man 2, the release date came later.
Yeah.
So
That was weird. Yeah. Again, we'll get to that. That was in the Summer Game Fest. It's like this is we're all kind of dancing on E3's grave right now, but it sort of feels like people are figuring out exactly what everyone's doing. You know, it's pretty scattered. The thing that was the biggest surprise from the PlayStation Showcase, in hindsight, is that they didn't show off any first-party PSVR 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very upset about that.
They talked about some, I believe, but they didn't show any.
Yeah. I mean, they I don't know.
They showed a few PSVR 2 games, but it wasn't. It was a lot of shooters. We also got the Five Nights at Freddy's VR
Help
game.
wanted to, yeah.
Yeah, but it was nothing that was impressive.
There was nothing substantial.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. So I mean, I would definitely docket points for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we did get a look at Spider-Man, and then we
Yeah.
did get I would say one of the big highlights of Summer Game Fest was the release date. You know,
Oh, I
finally.
thought you were gonna
Yeah.
say Snake Eater.
Oh, Snake Eater.
Snake Eater remake. Did you just forget that was a thing?
Well, here's the thing. I don't quite believe it's a thing yet. You know? I also the more I think about this, the more it annoys me. But to get a big cinematic reveal trailer for a remake of something is kind of cheap, kind of gross, you know, because we know what the game looks like. Just show us the before and after kind of
Right.
thing.
And
you
we know Kojima's not involved, so that means there's obviously going to be some changes. And we've learned since then that they're reusing some of the old voice lines. That they're not recording
all of the voice lines.
They're all the voice lines. Yeah,
of
they're
them.
not recording. Yeah, they're
Which
using
is
all the old
weird
ones.
because the first thing we saw about this was the voice actors who sings the theme song leaking it. So I guess they re-recorded the theme, but not the hundreds
She's
of
doing
hours.
background
codec.
vocals. Backup vocals. So
Weird
original
choice.
Vocals.
We're just going to have it just playing in the background the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so shifting gears, this is sort of a taboo subject, but the Xbox Showcase. I mean, I will say, as someone who also has an Xbox, that was a killer lineup. That felt like a really really good presentation, and yeah, I mean, I'll be playing a lot of those games.
I've got to say that showcase was an A showcase for me.
Yeah.
I am so happy that I have an Xbox Series X at home now. There are so many great games that are coming out to it. I know some of the audience was very cool on Avowed, but I think I really love what Obsidian does. They make some of the best NPCs. They do some of the best side storylines in games, including they're up there with CD Projekt Red for me. And I think that's going to be great. Fable looks fantastic. I mean, obviously that was all just CG, so no real gameplay yet. But I'm hyped that Fable's coming back. I love Fable. I want to go kick some chickens.
Other thing is, much like when PlayStation did their showcase, and shortly afterwards Microsoft was like, you can play most of those on Xbox too. Same is true of there were actually a bunch. The big one was Star Wars Outlaws. That's obviously a huge highlight of what Ubisoft showed off. There's also Cyberpunk 2077: Phantom Liberty, which I was sort of whatever on initially, thinking it was just more DLC, whatever. Everyone's saying that this is such a massive overhaul of everything that game was doing. The devs are like, we wish this is the version we'd shipped. It sounds like they just kind of went down the checklist of stuff that people were mad at the game for. Outside of the technical fixes that were sort of needed for a year and a half post-launch. But yeah, there's vehicular combat. They've completely redone the skill tree, all that stuff. There's new content as well as that.
And they're upgrading the base content. There's
Exactly.
new stuff coming to the vanilla version of the game.
Yeah.
So even people who aren't ready to upgrade, maybe want to make it prove itself after a couple weeks of launch first, they're going to see some of the bonuses and new stuff just by updating their game.
Yeah, I feel really bad for sort of how the reception that game got, and also the fact that it was sort of forced out the door when it was, because, you know, they made good, you know.
They did make good at it, and they had so much potential, like at launch, to like keep their stellar recognition as a studio. Like they were like everybody was always like putting CD Projekt Red up on a pedestal, and then Cyberpunk came out, and on the older consoles and consoles just really in general, it was not up to their pedigree compared to the PC version.
Yeah. But yeah,
I think it's got sort of a redemption arc now. Also, we at the Xbox Game Showcase, we also got Persona 3 Reload.
I was just about to say, yeah, we got
Freaking
three,
amazing.
well, 2.5 Persona games.
Yeah.
Persona 3 Reload. There was Persona 5 Tactica, which I guess that could be sort of the half game. But then there's also Metaphor Rentafazio, Refantasio, which is, we were watching that, we're like, is this Persona? Is this, you know,
looks amazing.
Shin Megami Tensei?
I mean, it's by the same people.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It looks amazing, and I feel like, you know, anyone that is a fan of the Persona series is going to feel right at home with this new IP. Like I was already sold. I was already bought in once I saw the reveal. I want that game. I think the Xbox Showcase is like the standard. I think that's what we want when we're thinking about these showcases and these forwards. I want it to be game heavy. I want to get surprises. I want it front loaded. I want it back loaded. I want a little bit of the nonsense in the middle. I just want it to be solid, and that's what this was. The Xbox Showcase was a solid A.
It was really, really good. It's also interesting because we see Sega really pushing stuff on the Xbox front, because they're really trying to make people realize that these previously PlayStation exclusive platform or series, Persona and Yakuza, are both on, you know, other platforms as well, which is cool. Now let's go through this pretty quick. What do we think of Summer Game Fest? We're gonna have to kind of speedrun this, but Jada?
Ooh, Summer Game Fest, solid, but I don't know. I didn't see anything that really was major for me personally. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna pass. Go ahead. Somebody else. Like that's where I was with it. Like.
Yeah, started strong, petered out towards the end, I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. You got Nick Cage, you know, coming out there, just being very eccentric and just wowing the audience with his presence. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He was definitely more stage presence than some of what we saw at Ubisoft earlier today. That was weird. I will say the one thing Capcom really did impressively was, I think, made us forget about what was going on with Ubisoft. And Ubisoft ended really strong with the Star Wars Outlaws gameplay reveal. That was cool. Getting more details on Avatar, also very good. But like, I keep wanting to call it Sea of Thieves. Skull and Bones, which has been delayed, what, 6 times? Like, that game keeps getting kicked down the road. It was supposed to be out by now. It's okay. You could show the Star Wars gameplay because it's actually fun to look at. I don't know, 5 dudes on stage singing a sea shanty while one of the beatboxes, I would say less so. That was a weird way to promote something that people were expecting to be playing by now.
Yeah, they're extremely late on that TikTok trend, too. I don't know why they thought of that.
Yeah. No, that's mixed feelings on that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, again, Summer of Gaming kind of scattered out, but I'm glad we're getting this stuff as opposed to just kind of radio silence.
Yeah.
That said, we do have more stuff coming up. We're going to talk more about some of the mini games that are coming to PlayStation that we're excited about it. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about all that. Stick around.
Presented by the United States Air Force. The mission of the United States Air Force is to fly, fight, and win. Air power anytime, anywhere.